It's a sunny afternoon right here in Accra. We are transmitting live from our studios right here in the Grand House inside Adabraka, adjacent the Holy Spirit Cathedral. This is the state, and thank you so much for joining us again on the midweek edition. My name is Anita na Afarley Quarcoo. We'll be right back, and then we'll go back to W Briefs, tell you what we have for you today.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. Don't call me, oh, don't call me. Ghana for mental disaster for my WTV and 5 years. Hooray! Now, enam Mfianuma Fidida, WTV ADNT, or yet don't call me promo. And it says, Sawaya Ghana ni, now what business, and I do not be our person Bomu Deura. WTV say, Ye Baby Chat, with Juma Kuno, and as we got on Diano, Ya Bomu Deura now what you mean, 2 weeks at the amount. 1,000 Ghana cities pay, I'll bet you. Way at your Konya, WTV Air Faso at the Adawasi. Say what time the chi am my broom pempenswa and never drink some promo here didn't was make a crack and then Yanunti, one you make up some who devil Muntu Tumrika, Namomrai, Fred WTV, Nani Penfoning Como, and for don't call me promo 0593 110733 and now WhatsApp 0256 253461. WTV, reaching out to the world.
Well, this is still the States. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is where we give you a brief of what we'll be discussing later when we sit down. But today on W Briefs, well, the Electricity Company of Ghana, as we all know, has the mission to provide quality, reliable, and safe electricity services to support the economic growth and development of the country. And so we are talking about the day-to-day light we get in our homes. And it's all about sometimes the prepaid, or most often than not, the prepaid. Now, in fact, the ECG is mandated to transmit, supply, and distribute electricity across all 16 regions of the country. To many people, the reliable pledge, quote-unquote, in the ECG's mission remain aspirational as many areas face incessant power outage. Yes, Dumso is still with us. ECG's mandate has been threatened with various challenges, including financial sustainability or instability, infrastructure issues, and power outages. According to the Energy Minister designate John Abdullahi Jinapor, the energy sector that ballooned to about $3 billion under the outgone NPP administration. Well, the same man has also said that about 2.9 million meters across the country are malfunctioning. But a huge debt in the sector has seen independent power producers, IPPs, threaten to shut down operations over government's failure to adhere to the cash water flow mechanism, where Sanan Asogli shut down some months back. These are some of the facts. But the new Mahama administration has given a hint on the possibilities of privatizing ECG's power distribution mandate to deal with the situation at hand. During his vetting by Parliament's Appointment Committee, John Abdullahi Jinapor, the Minister-designate for Energy, announced government's plan to set up a 7-member committee to spearhead the possible privatization of the electricity company of Ghana. If we all could remember, some time back, PDS also came in, but the proponents of the age-long debate on privatization of ECG argue that the move will help improve efficiency, cut losses, facilitate access to foreign expertise, enhance accountability and transparency, as well as boost productivity. Many have, however, questioned the proposal, claiming privatization could lead to foreign control of the strategic national asset, increase in tariff, as well as some staff layoffs, and that is what our fear is, as most Ghanaians will put it. But the Public Utility Workers Union, PUWU, is one of such groups that have voiced vehement opposition to the proposal of the privatization of the electricity company of Ghana. Now, in the wake of the raging debate, we ask, is the proposed privatization of the electricity company of Ghana the panacea to the challenges facing the company? Well, these are some of the issues we'll be interrogating later this afternoon, and so I urge you to stay with us and do well to enjoy. This program is proudly brought to you by the Christian Service University. We'll go for a quick turn. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and my topic for the afternoon. Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorena Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Quarcoo
and the Reverend Ajika Vincent Agbamanya, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not Shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorena Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loans,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
We are young but wise, strong yet fragile, soft but tough. We are young people. Join me, the very Reverend Gideon Doche Usabute, as I connect you to the world of young people. It's Why Connect, your new and exciting young people's program, right here on Wesleyan Television. It's Why Connect, connecting youth to Christ. Why Connect? The future is here. See you.
Do you want to avoid the heavy vehicular traffic in Accra after a hard day's work? Then enjoy a short stay in the new Wesley Tower's spacious and beautiful rooms. Our 6 suites provides a comfortable treat after a long day of exploration. Enjoy modern amenities, breathtaking views in the city of Accra's ambassadorial enclave and the utmost comfort during your stay. The property gives you a warm reception in our main entrance foyer with a classic central chandelier lighting as you enjoy affordable sumptuous meals from our restaurant. We have in place male-female washrooms, spacious car park, and an on-site clinic. Wesley Towers is designed to make you feel safe, offering you the needed luxurious personal space. It comes with affordable pricing package. Please contact for details and inspection. 0503 109 978 or 0500 166 304, 0556 302 880 or 0243 614 423. Wesley Towers, offering you a safe, secured, luxurious space.
Nyansa, it's Shannon Peninano, and I agent Peninano. The baby Biara and Penifuashia, Naya Shire Green. The open Yansano, or Ben Wa, or the good year, Children more good year, and a coffee. And yes, I agree. And some more drop, and some polo. Someone, ye tear bobra, a co ye, a frasi frito, near open Yansano, or Manguan Quenia say, the Peninsula Agony, the Bay Shira, Amano, and then in Chirima. Yadamwasi.
Jack in penning in Soyagony, Jemre, Nashayan, Mimninde, Nimimninde Pia, and no pat no watching, or Wesleyan television so.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. That's
much for joining us right here on The State. This afternoon we will be discussing the privatization of ECG, where we'll be weighing in on the merits and demerits of the proposal. Well, my guests for the afternoon are two gentlemen, the very Reverend Dr. Samuel Kofi, who is a retired power systems engineer expert, and Nana Amoesi, the 7th Executive Director, Institute of Energy Security. And so these two gentlemen would help us delve deeper and learn more about what the privatization means for us as Ghanaians, what the merits will be, and of course, what the demerits would also be for us right here in Ghana. And so good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, I hope you are well.
Yes, sir, I'm doing fine. I hope you're also doing well.
By grace, we are doing very well.
Okay.
Greetings to all my brothers and sisters there, to all of
Okay.
our viewers watching us.
Sure. Thank you so much, Osopo. But let's get straight to the point. But before we do that, if you can also say hello to some of your viewers who will be watching this afternoon's program.
Oh, certainly. I send my greetings to my presiding bishop, our dear Prof. I greet my assistant bishop, also Bishop Pachan Foriachia, my own church members, Emmanuel Lashibi, Chama, Emmanuel Lashibi. I send them my greetings, and of course my family, and for all loved ones who are watching us, and it's good that we have met at this time. God bless you.
God bless you too, sir, for joining us. Now, to the issue on ground, the privatization of the electricity company of Ghana. Over the years, we've had issues of power outages, the issue of the running out of, running in losses and all that. But a few hours before the inauguration of the President John Dramani Mahama, we had the Minister Designates for Energy stating that we had about a few hours left before we ran out of fuel to supply us some form of light into our homes. Currently, the issue of privatization is on the table, and so both sides are bringing in their own comments, their own argument, and they are stating facts. Some of them are telling us why the privatization will be good for us as a country and why they fear it won't go as planned. But what does the privatization of ECG mean for us as Ghanaians?
Thank you. It's a very interesting subject. Let me say right from the beginning that the subject of privatization in the energy sector of Ghana didn't start today. Way back in 1997, that was when this whole concept of privatization started. And it started right from the top of the value chain where the power is actually generated. If you remember, that was when we had to restructure the Volta River Authority, which was the sole monopoly for power generation. And the effect of it was that private people, private companies were, sort of admitted into the energy supply chain, and they began to construct power plants and fast forward. At the moment, we know that at least the private companies that came on are responsible for more than 50% of the generation capacity that we have in Ghana. So I'm just trying to place all this privatization discussion in context, that it started way back. And that is how come we now have private people, private companies operating in the generation side. Now, the whole idea was not to just stop at the generation side. It was supposed to go through the whole value chain. And if you remember, I think somewhere in 2019 or so, there was an attempt to bring in private participation into the distribution side this time. So the whole thing that has come up again, you ask me what the implications are. One thing that we need to be very clear about is that what type of privatization are we talking about? Is it the same type of privatization that the nation tried to implement through the PDS in, I think, around 2019? I guess that is the same, but at least we need to be told clearly, because there are different types of privatization that is open to nations to adopt. Now, the basic concern that everyone faces all over the world when the issue of privatization is mentioned is that it sort of stirs up mixed feelings. In fact, the literature shows it. My own experience in the sector, it shows it. When I was doing my doctorate research, I did it in power sectors, participation, private sector participation in distribution. And you can see the literature shows clearly that there are mixed feelings. There are people who feel that this may not work. There are people who feel that this may work. And the results, the empirical result also shows the same. The other thing too is that whereas in the developed countries, when you talk about privatization, with whatever form that you are talking about, it doesn't create much anxieties. In the developed countries like Ghana and Africa, anytime the subject of privatization is lifted up, it creates a lot of anxieties. And they are well-placed anxieties because private people, private companies are motivated by two main things: efficiency and profits. And then public services are also motivated by providing, socio-economic needs of citizens or society. So you can see right again, from there that there is a conflict there, and that is why there's a mixed feeling, even in the literature, about what privatization actually, entails and what we should expect. Okay. So. Yes, that's what I can say. So I'm just trying to set the tone that it is a subject that has to be discussed. And I believe that as we go on, we will see my own position on it and then what I think we should do. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. But before we delve deeper into some of the highlights of what you've mentioned earlier, what is your assessment of Ghana's power distribution sector?
Power distribution sector, I would concede that we have the generation, the transmission, and the distribution. The distribution sector is a very difficult, say out of the three, is the most difficult because by the mere reason that there are so many customers that we are talking about. I don't know the current number of customers that UCG serves, but I'm sure it should go beyond 4 million or even up to 5 million. The sheer number of customers that you have to deal with imposes a lot of constraints or challenges on the companies. Having said that, well, that is why they are set up to do. They must be able to, devise the systems and plans to be able to meet the customer expectation. The idea is that the customers should have quality service. That is the bottom line. And I know that as far as we are concerned, me and you now, whether we are getting our power from private people or from public people, we don't really mind. What we are talking about is my light on? And will my light stay on? Now, what we see here, I'm not supposed to tell you, there are challenges in the power distribution sector. We know that the amount of losses that are registered, in the distribution sector is a bit on the high side compared with the world benchmarks, good benchmarks. If you have both commercial and technical losses which are exceeding 25%, 30%, then you have a problem to start with. And this problem didn't start today. It has been with us for years, and I pray that this time around we'll be able to have a good handle on it and have the courage to do what we have to do. The losses are there, and then other difficulties are also there. We'll cry that the price is too high, and all these things combine to make Ghanaians generally not very satisfied with the quality of service that we are looking at. If you want a new meter, what kind of hustle do you go through? If you want a new service, what kind of difficulties do you go to? How long would it take for you to get all these things?
And then the amount, as well as the amount involved.
It feed into the quality of service that we face as customers. So if I'm giving one word to describe it, I think that Ghanaians are not very satisfied. We are not very satisfied with the quality of service generally. In some places, yes, it's fine. Where I live, my light stays on as much as possible. Other places, it's not. So those are the challenges. The sheer infrastructure, you have a handle on the maintenance and other things that impinges on the customer's expectation as far as quality of service is concerned. That is where the challenges are currently.
Interesting, but it looks like here in Ghana, anytime we mention the issue of power, the only name that comes to mind is the Electricity Company of Ghana, that's the ECG. You mentioned earlier that we have the production, we have the distribution, and then we have the other aspects of it. Is it ECG? Is ECG the only player in this particular sector?
No. ECG is the last player, but you see, because of where they are located, they interface directly with us, the users, the customers. So most of us customers in Ghana do not know what goes on in the back room. We know there is VR, we know there is Quarcoo. But what concerns us is ECG, because it's ECG that gives us the power directly. But the idea is that ECG is not the only player in the chain. The power must be generated by somebody. And at the moment, VRA is our main, generator of power. It's a public utility. There are other private, utilities also that are generating power, like Car Power, Sem Power, other private people, mainly in the thermal area. Then all these people generate their power and put it in one basket. I call it a basket because that basket is managed by Ghana Grid Company. Now, one Ghana Grid Company puts all of this together. Then they would then in turn hand it over to the ECG basket. So ECG picks all this basket or network, power in the network, and then they would then in turn distribute it to us in our homes, in our factories, in our churches, in all over the place. So if there is a problem in the generation side, it will have effect on what ECG is able to do. If there is a problem in the transmission side, it will have effect on what ECG does. But the distinguishing factor is that if there is a problem, for example, in the generation side, you will see that the effect is widespread. It covers a whole lot of people. Maybe if one of VRA's power plants, generators go off, it will not just affect a small group of people in one feeder. It will affect a wider area. Now, if there's a problem in Gridco, for example, and one line or whatever, transformer or whatever goes off, it affects a wider area. So the key is that anytime your lights go off, you go and stand outside and try and find out the extent to which that power outage is. It will give you an indication roughly as to whether it is a localized issue for which ECG must be solely held responsible, or it is coming from generation side or from the transmission side. That is roughly how we can see. But most of the faults, because of the sheer numbers of customers and the network and the transformers that ECG is dealing with, most of the faults that we are used to day to day are faults from ECG. That's the reality.
ECG. We also hear NEDCO, that's the Northern Electricity Company. What is their role in all of this?
Okay, thank you. Before NEDCO was established, you remember NEDCO didn't exist. ECG was responsible for all power distribution in the whole country. But as a result of the power structure reform that started in 1997, it was felt that, from policy perspective, it was felt that ECG's role was too wide and that had too much on their plate to handle. Okay. That was one reason that was adduced. Okay. And therefore, the country separated the distribution functions into two companies. And the company that was asked to take responsibility for power distribution in the northern, from the middle belt to the north, was the Northern Electricity Department, which was established as a department of Water River Authority. So NEDCO is a department of Water River Authority charged with the same responsibility of distributing power in the northern sector. And then ECG was then asked to concentrate on distributing power in the southern sector from the middle belt to the coastal line. So the two companies are our two distribution public companies as we have in Ghana at the moment.
Interesting one. Now, at the vetting of the Minister Designates for Energy, John Abdullah Jinapo, he indicated that he believes that, some aspects of the company needs to be privatized so that the issue of not having enough monies to buy fuel, the issue of we all know the challenges that ECG faces, so that those issues can be reduced, and then we could have power as and when we need it. All the time. Do you think his statement as, during the vetting process was really what we needed to hear as Ghanaians?
Well, I think so. Honorable John Jinapo is not a stranger in this sector.
Okay.
He's not a stranger in this sector. When I was in Greco, I had opportunities, we worked together and all that. I told you that Power Sector Structural Reform started in 1997. And then in 2019, there was this experiment to try and push the private sector participation. In fact, the word that we use is private sector participation. We don't use privatization. It's private sector participation. That is what was rolled out. If you remember, there was this.
What is the difference between the two? Because private sector participation, privatization, I think we still have private in both words. So what is the difference?
Yes, there's a big difference. There's a big. If you talk about any assets that you want to give to private people, the ownership of the asset is very, very important.
Okay.
And then the operation and maintenance of the assets. You have to choose whether you would want to give the ownership and then the operation and maintenance or the actual work both to private people. Now, when you do that, then you have really gone to the full hop of privatization. You have actually divested yourself from the business. In layman's terms, you can say you have sold out your business.
Okay.
And you have nothing to do with it. It is purely in the hands of a private person.
Is it the same thing we witnessed with the PDS some years back?
It is. Let me explain.
Okay.
Let me explain. It's not exactly the same.
Okay.
When you do this, you send out the assets and everything to a private person. Then you can say maybe you have divested your interest completely in those assets. What we did in PDS, the country retained ownership of the assets. The country retained the ownership of the asset and transferred the operation and maintenance and management and investment responsibilities to a private company for a certain number of years. And that is what we call the concession arrangement. So in that situation, we can describe it as private sector participating in the public
the distribution chain
utility business.
Okay.
Okay. So we are keeping our equipment, our transformers, our wires, everything is still us. But then we say that, listener, you take this for 20 years. You are responsible for delivering the service that this facility is supposed to deliver.
Okay.
You are also responsible for investing in that equipment system so that we'll be able to meet future needs. Okay, you are responsible for bearing the risk. If people don't pay, you don't come and tell me anything. You have to bear all your risk. If your exchange rate is dancing around you, don't come and tell me anything. I am giving it to you for 20 years. That is private sector participation. I still retain ownership. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, you are clear. Now, which one really worked for us as a country? Is it ECG having sole ownership of the distribution chain, or us giving just a part of it to PDS to work? Which one really worked for us?
Yes, for the PDS one, we had, like I've explained, a concession I think, a 20-year concession. So the government of Ghana or Ghanaians will retain the ownership of the assets.
Okay.
In other words, the transformers, the wires, the metering systems, and everything that come together to bring power to our homes, the government or the people of Ghana said, this one, we are not selling, it is for us. Then they gave the facility for a 20-year period to PDS and told PDS, make sure that you invest in this network, this facility we are giving to you, so that it will be able to meet the requirements of a growing developing nation in the future. So benchmarks were set for them. So you are not just going to use the network to pick power from VRA or anybody and then send it to customers in their homes. No, that's not what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to do more. You are supposed to invest in the network and make sure that quality of service is achieved. Make sure that the network is growing according to the growth projections that the regulators have determined and all that. So it's quite a huge thing. You bear the risk. But as for ownership, we will still maintain. After 20 years, we can take our thing back from you. Or if you want to continue the arrangement with you, we'll continue. So that was the PDS arrangement. And I know that is the same thing that Honorable Jinapor is talking about.
Did we hit the 20-year mark with PDS?
Oh, no. You know, it didn't reach anywhere. It didn't reach anywhere. And those are some of the difficult challenges.
So if we didn't hit that 20-year mark with them, how possible is it that if we should give it to a private person or we should privatize it, how sure are we that this is going to work for us as a country? Considering the fact that the electricity company are facing issues of the power supply in terms of theft, in terms of some of their meters not working, in terms of revenue collection and all that. What shows that this is going to work for us if we cannot maintain what we have as a public entity?
Now, what we saw or witnessed during the PDS is a very technical difficulty, very technical. And at a high level, at a contract level, one of the factors which if we have time we can discuss in fashioning out privatization or private sector participation activity for any developing country is to be sure of the clarity of the contract and the arrangement that you are going in, and make sure that there are no hidden issues inside. Now, what hit PDS was just a simple thing. Once we give you this facility to handle, use it to make your money, and use it to make our service for us, use it to make sure that you are investing in it, there is something that will take from PDS and any private person who is interested, is a guarantee. A guarantee that you will not mess up the facility for us and run away. Okay, so in the PDS matter, the original idea was that the PDS was supposed to give the people of Ghana a certain bank guarantee. No, this is where the problem started. To make sure that, to convince us that they will manage the thing very well. If they mess things up, we'll just fall on our guarantee and make our money and repair our facilities. Unfortunately, the issues around the guarantee is where the problems, came up. It was later on found out that the guarantee that the PDS has given to us didn't meet the expectations of the contract. And once that happened, it became a very fundamental error in the whole process. And I think the government of the day felt that, look, if you cannot meet your guarantees on this project, then we cannot, entrust our facility into your hands. Please give our thing back to us and go away in peace. And that is what happened. So the lesson we have now, if we are going for the same arrangement, put systems in place so that we do not get to that kind of situation again. So that if it's a guarantee that we are looking for, if the bank guarantees clearly stated, clearly. I heard Honorable Jinapos talking about doing a competitive open tender to be able to bring in people who are interested, who will be able to meet our requirements, our tendering requirements, our contractual requirements. Then we will not hit this problem. So it was a technical problem, and if it hadn't been so, if they hadn't breached those things, I'm sure the project would still have been running, and probably maybe it's in its fifth year, and we would have seen what the effect would have been.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Doc. But the ECG also came up with a lot of processes, or would I say some mitigating factors that they could use to alleviate the situation. One is the fact that they brought in the prepaid meters. Now the cashless system is also there, and what have you. I would ask, has it really served its purpose? I want you to think about this question, and then where I want us to go for a break. When we return, you give us an answer to that particular question. But viewers, we've been discussing the privatization of the electricity company of Ghana, and we've been talking about what the ECG stand for, what NEDCO also came in to do, and of course what the distribution chain has been all about. Thank you so much for watching, but please do stay with us. We'll come back after the break.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known.
We are young but wise, strong yet fragile, soft but tough. We are young people. Join me, the very Reverend Gideon 𝗟𝗓𝗓 as I connect you to the world of young people. It's Why Connect, your new and exciting young people's program, right here on Wesleyan Television. It's Why Connect, connecting youth to Christ. Why Connect? The future is here. See you.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on the final bit of the state this afternoon. But we've been speaking with Doctor, and he's told us a number of things concerning what the privatization of ECG could mean for us as Ghanaians. Doc, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you, listener.
Okay, so we're talking, I asked a question concerning ECG bringing out a number of remedies to alleviate the case or to bring down the issues. One has to do with the meters that were changed for us. Currently, the new meters are still in the system. They come to your house. They change it even when you are around or when you are not around. They still change it. You come back and then you meet a new meter in your home. Now, you go to the ECG vendors you want to buy, and they tell you that if you don't have Momo, you won't be able to. So the digitalization thing has also set in for them. But what is it that they are not doing that is bringing us to the fact that we need to privatize it?
Right. I told you that, Mr. Thank you very much for this question. I told you that there are about 3 factors.
Okay.
In my own research, there are about 3 factors that come together to affect quality of service. Now, when ECG is going around our homes and changing meters, etc., etc., it's part of their function. It feeds into the quality of service delivery. We expect that the meters they roll out are quality meters, they are accurate, and that we are able to pay for what we consume. So GCG is still our supplier, and they have to continue to do their job. And I commend them. They came to my house, they changed my meter. It's as if that the meter is running faster, but I am a technical person, so I cannot complain. Whatever it is, all that I need to know is that the meters have been fully calibrated, and if it's accurately calibrated, then what it reads is what it is. So it must continue like that. So bringing meters to your home means that they are fulfilling their responsibility of sending the power to you and collecting the money back. Okay, so it is just one aspect of ECG's work. The one big issue that ECG in its current form is unable to have a handle on is the need to inject capital to expand the facility in such a way that the quality of service is improved, and that the access to the facility is also improved, that everybody will be happy about. For me, that is the aspect where ECG has its weakest, point, unable to invest. Now, it's a public company. It's for all of us. So when we're talking about investment, we are talking about capital injection, money into the business. That must come from the owners. GCE is fully owned by the government. So the government naturally would have to be able to inject a lot of money according to their GCG projections. If you're talking about metering, there are a lot of metering infrastructure. There are options. There are so many things that must be done to improve the quality of service.
If some of us had, Doc, if some of us had our meters changed about some few months back, and today or some few days back, we had the energy minister designate saying that about 2.9 meters are malfunctioning and they need to be changed again. Where is the country going to get this amount from to inject into the company to, import new meters to be changed at every home or every institution?
You see, I it's a good question now, but the question is not even where is the country going to get the money to replace a bad meter. That's a bad decision. Before you buy meters, you have to make sure that you are buying quality meters, and the industry has standards. There are procedures that we go through to make sure that whatever we are procuring for use in the industry, they meet our specifications. So the question of we have found out that we have bought bad meters. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't even arise at all.
Wouldn't this be frustrating to the consumer or the customer? Because you come to my house about 3-4 months back, you change my meter, you come back again next month and you change it. So 5 months down the line, you've changed my meter about twice. Whereas my meter, I feel my meter doesn't have any fault at all. Wouldn't it be frustrating to the consumer?
So, exactly so. That is why I talk about quality service delivery. And quality service delivery means that you are meeting the customer's expectations. And I mean, when you go through some of these problems, changing your meter 1, 2, 3 times too many, you are not happy with the service. So you realize that although a lot of work is going on, we are not seeing that, as customers. we don't feel happy. Our expectations are not being met, or no, let alone to be exceeded. And that is what triggers in a private sector participation, because they then come in with all the technological know-how, with all the management skills, with all the financing, with all the responsibility to take the risk up. And then all that the owners of the facility will say is that, I expect that you deliver this product, this service to my customers under the regulatory framework that I have given to you.
Yeah.
Make sure that the lights stay on, they don't go off.
But before we do all of these, who should be held responsible? Because you take a country like the UK, you take a country like Australia, and they've been able to privatize their power distribution sector, and it's working perfectly for them. But here in this country, the energy minister designate said that he engaged the ECG, and he got to know that about 5.2 meters that they have currently, only 4.8 are working, are active, and about 3 million of them are not working. Who should we hold responsible? Because someone made these purchases with the hard-earned money, with our public purse. We took this money out of our public purse. Who should we hold responsible before we decide to privatize the sector?
At the moment, ECG is being managed by and owned by the government. Owned by the government, and the government appoints a board. The government appoints a board, and the board is ultimately responsible for everything that happens in the company. So we can talk about the line managers from the MD down, who make the day-to-day decisions to procure this meter A or meter B. At the end of the day, if I'm looking at it, if you go and buy a bad meter, I would hold the procurement people responsible. If I'm the managing director there, certainly I will have to share the blame. But at the end of the day, what we are buying should meet a certain engineering specifications, which must be clear. And once we go out there and we are procuring, you send our technical people, they test it, even if it's made in Ghana or made it outside. These are tested to be sure that it is working before you bring them in. Now, this is very, very basic. And if we are unable to do those things, then we have a problem with our management systems, the quality control, quality assurance systems that we have. It will have to lie squarely on the management of the place, but by extension, we can go right to the board and go to the owners with the government. And that is where the government comes in and says that, well, I would want to change my style. I would want to see if I can bring in private participation to come in, and we can make a decision which extent of private participation we want. I told you there are different types. We can say that, well, we will give the facility to you to manage it. Just like some time ago, Aquavitans Rand came to manage our water thing for us. I don't share that type of option anyway. For a certain number of years, just a management contract, no. The other options that are there, outright sale, this is a strategic asset. No, I wouldn't go with that, because as a nation, there are some assets that are strategic we must keep, as a nation. Is for us. Now, the other option is somewhere in between. We retain ownership, and then we give the management responsibility. We give the responsibility for injecting capital, investing in the facility, growing it, making it robust enough to meet the expectations of all the customers. That has to be done, from the wires, transformers, metering systems. And then finally, you manage the risk, so that if you go and buy a bad meter, you don't come and pass it to your owner. You are the private person, you want to buy a bad meter, you swallow its implications. Those are the kind of advantages that you get when you try and bring in private sector participation, well designed and structured.
No question, but do you think it's high time we scrap out the political appointments and rather bring in honest and rather people who know what they are about to do in the various sectors that we may have to place them in?
Political influence, you cannot wash or wish it away in a public organization. You can't. Our constitution requires our president to appoint boards and some of the heads of the organization. It is, you know, for as long as we are running this democracy, you cannot take out political influence from public organizations. Okay. Now, that is the reality. Okay. But the unfortunate thing is that as soon as you bring in political influence, then you are introducing another dimension of politics to add to the social conditions, to add to the technical considerations, to add to the financial considerations. So then you are making the situation a little bit complicated for anybody. Okay.
Interesting.
So that is how the problem
will start. Okay.
And then at the end of the day, you don't even know who to blame.
Interesting one, Doc. Thank you so much. I think that we need more time to delve deeper into the privatization of the ECG, among other factors or other challenges confronting the electricity company of Ghana. But thank you so much for your time and for sharing this rather bright insight with us right here on the stage. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, Naya. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
So you heard us speak with the very Reverend Engineer Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, who is a retired power systems engineer expert, and we're talking about the privatization of the ECG. We were weighing down in on the merits and the demerits of the proposal by the Energy Minister designate John Abdullahi Jinapor. Thank you so much for watching the stage this afternoon, but we promise to hit your screens again on Friday exactly at 2 p.m. My name is Anita na Afarley Quarcoo. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.